It is now streaming live. There we go. All right, everybody, you know the routine. When that gets to 0, the show will actually start. So just scrub forward to that, and that's what the beginning is. Or, of course, you can click up here to go to the edited version. Or, of course, if you're actually watching live, then you're just going to have to hang out until that gets to 0. There is no time travel. We'll see you in a few minutes. Hello, everybody. I guess we could get that up there and give yourself a few more seconds just so I can say hi to you all. Hi, hello, everybody. Good mornings, greetings, salutations, and all those good things. This is the first, fully live photo moment, I think, isn't it, of the new year? Because I did a maybe I did one the week before. I don't know. Hey, we're here. That's all that really matters. How you guys doing today? I see Whiskey Throttle. I just love it. Anything with whiskey in the name works for me. Jake, good morning to you too. Who else do we got here this morning? I know there's a few of you watching live. Say hello in the chat room. It's always good to see you and hear from you. And oh, look, the clock got to 0 even though I gave it a little extra time. I guess I didn't give it enough time. Well, that's okay because I actually, before we really start, I need to do a quick little setup. Make sure I don't lose that. I did like a, what could I put here to hold this in place? I need something heavy, I guess. Just use this to make sure I don't lose the cable. I have to go scrambling for that on the ground. Because the first part of the show, I need to have the top-down camera thing hooked up. So let me just make sure that that is in place. And that will do. That will do just nicely. Perfect. Excuse me. All right, you guys ready? Hi in the UK, Big Red J. Excellent. That's set. You know. You guys know how it is. You're as ready as you're ever going to be. Should we do a show? Let's do a show. Where's my thing? There it is. Let's do it. On today's show, we're going to be talking about a vlogging workflow for going from your camera to your iPad and editing entirely in LumaFusion on iOS. Good morning and welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, the first live twice a week, not 3 times a week anymore, twice a week show here at youtube.com/PhotoJoseph, talking about all sorts of things photo and video related. Today we're talking about the vlogging workflow. If you're going to go out on the road, out in the field, and you want to take your DSLR, DSLM, whatever camera you're shooting with, and leave the laptop behind, but you want to travel with just an iPad and use software like the incredible LumaFusion from LumaTouch, then this is the workflow that you need to know. Now, we are not going to be talking about how to actually edit in LumaFusion. I've done an entire series on that. I'll put a link to that at the end of the show if you were interested in that. There's a very long, very detailed, in-depth training series on that. This is the actual workflow for getting your content from your camera into the iPad, and here's the trick, keeping it there. Because as many of you are undoubtedly aware, once you copy content onto your iPad, there's a very good likelihood that iCloud Photo Library will make it go poof and fly away, and that's bad. So let's first talk about how you get it in there. All right, I'm shooting with the G9. The footage that I am going to be showing you, barely will hardly see any, but it's stuff that I shot in India, shot entirely on the G9, mostly with this 12mm f1.4 lens, the fantastic neutral density filters from Aurora Aperture. I will be doing a show on these in the future, I promise. Also, this newish Rode microphone worked out really, really well. A lot more shows to come on all that, but that's what I shot with, shooting everything, of course, onto an SD card, using these lovely ones from ProGrade, and then you got to get the content from this card into the iPad. For that, you need your Lightning adapter. This is the SD card Lightning reader, and simply plug it into your iPad, and it is going to, if it doesn't launch automatically, I think sometimes it launches automatically. There we go. It launches automatically into the Apple Photos app. It brings you straight into the import window. Now, here's the first trick. Now, at this point, I could just hit import all and bring it in, and that's perfectly fine. It's just going to import everything. But the first trick is to kind of organize things a little bit more. In the example of my India trip, I created a folder for every city that I was in because I was moving around a lot. You could do it by day, you could do it by location, whatever you want, doesn't matter. But creating a folder to import into just helps a little bit with the organization as you go. So in this case here, I would, if I go back, if I actually just get out of the import entirely, let's go back down here to the albums view. You'll see in here I have albums for cities by number, like number 6, Jaisalmer, 0 is the Getting There trip, 3, Agra, and so on. So those are numbered by the names of the places that I was in. I would just hit plus, add new album, and type in here, we'll just pretend there was a 7th city on there, and we'll call it Somewhere. The city of Somewhere. Save that. So now I'm not going to add anything to it yet. I just hit done. It is now an empty album. Somewhere, there it is. Again, if I'd done this before, the import window would come up automatically. Up here in the top left, it says Import to Library. I want to tap on that and choose the new one that I just created. So there it is, 7 Somewhere. And then I could select whatever I want, whether I'm selecting some of them or selecting everything, hit Import, and in it comes. And that's all there is to that. Pretty straightforward, right? This is the standard import in. At this point, you can absolutely 100% jump straight over into LumaFusion, access the footage in the Photos library, and start editing. But here's the problem. If you have iCloud Photo Library enabled and you have the settings set up to, let's go into the settings on here for photos. If you have it set up to optimize iPad storage, this is where you're going to run into a problem. I'll give you a moment here. I'm going to reconfigure this so you can actually see the screen a little bit better. Plug that into the little sharing thing up here. I had to do that for this part of it. Kind of annoying, but there we go. All right, is that up? There we go. Where are we? Let's get the right screen. If you have it set to optimize iPad storage, then the problem is that at some point when you get fast enough internet, which might never happen on your trip or might happen every time you're in a hotel, your content will get uploaded to the cloud, and then your content might get taken off of your iPad. Which is really bad because you probably won't notice this until you're somewhere with very low or no internet connection at all, like on the airplane, say, when you decide you want to edit. So that is a real problem. So you do need to work around that. And there's two ways to work around it. The easiest way is to simply tap on, as I have here, download and keep originals. If you have that selected, download and keep originals selected, then all of your content will stay on the iPad. It will still get uploaded to iCloud, which is great, so you get that backup if you happen to hit the fast internet, but it will stay on here. Now, if you have enough space on your iPad, not only for everything you already have in Apple Photos, but as well as everything you're going to shoot, then that's the easiest solution. Do that and you're good to go. The challenge is that many of us don't have that kind of space laying around, so we need a solution that will keep our content on the iPad and still allow us to use photos in a normal way. Part of the problem here is that we cannot import directly from the Lightning adapter into LumaFusion. We have to go into Apple Photos. This is an iOS security limitation. We cannot bypass Apple Photos, so we have to go into there. So we have to do this in multiple stages. So what we want to do is move the content into an album, into a place that is secure and stored basically inside of LumaFusion. And we do that using the file manager. So here's how that works. We go back to the desktop, whatever it's called in iOS. I'm going to open up the Files app. And on the left-hand side, you see it says Locations, and there's On My iPad. On My iPad is key, because this is stuff that's stored here, not in any other cloud or connected device. Down towards the bottom, you'll see LumaFusion. And of course, you're only going to see this once you've installed it and started running it. And at the bottom of this, you see one that's called User Media. This is really important. You do have to put stuff inside of the user media folder. If it's outside of that folder, if you just put it in that main LumaFusion folder, you're not going to find the content inside of LumaFusion. It's got to be in the user media folder. So we're in user media folder. Now I can create a new album. And let's just go in here. I'll create one. I'll call this India. Hit done on there. And within that, I can create as many sub-albums as I want. So I may as well go in and create the same sub-album structure that I had done earlier, so that I had done in Photos. So we'll just call it, what was it, 7 somewhere. And oops, somewhere. Somewhere, there we go. So now that I have that folder created, now the next step is to move the content from Apple Photos over to this. By doing this, we are securing it from getting deleted off of our iPad accidentally or automatically, as Apple would have you believe. So let's go back into Apple Photos. Oop. Ha, excellent, bring up my messages, that's always good. Go back into Apple Photos, and I'm going to, because I had organized everything into those albums before, I'm going to go ahead into the albums, find the one that I would have just done, which would have been the 7 somewhere. Okay, I didn't actually copy anything in, so we'll just grab another one here. And then I would take all of the content. Now, if I tap Select in the top right corner, I can tap one at a time on these. It's a little bit tedious. There is, oh, that's right. No, in this mode, there is a Select All. So let me just do that over again for the sake of the recording, for the sake of the not live show. Up in the top right corner, you tap on Select. I can click on individual ones to select, or I can just hit Select All up at the top, either one. And then at this point, I'm not going to do all. So let's deselect all and just add a couple of them here. We'll add these last 3. I will then choose the Move or the Share sheet up in the top left corner, navigate to the bottom where it says Save to Files. And from here, there's User Media, there's India, and there's my Somewhere. Tap on Add. It's virtually instant. At this point, we're not waiting for a copy. It just shows up there, which is great. I guess it's part of the file system. There is no copying. It's just there. So now that that's in there, let's go ahead back over to Files, where we'll now see those 3 items inside of the Somewhere folder. So now when I go into LumaFusion to access that, again, if I had used Photos, I would see those inside of the albums in here. And if I'm just using that, this is where I'm going to access all that, the nice, easy way. But if I'm doing this super secure backup way, I go to Imported, and there's all the content that was in that media folder. There's India, there's Somewhere, And of course, there is the content. So that is the key. That is what is going to allow you to keep your content on the iPad without having to worry about cloud taking it away and having access to it inside of LumaFusion. It's a great, great workflow. It is a couple of extra steps, but this ensures that you're not going to run into any problems. Again, if you don't have to worry about the space, if you have plenty of space on your iPad, just turn off just turn off optimized media and you will have everything you need staying on here, and that's all there is to it. So that's it. That is everything that I wanted to show you today. Again, if you want to learn more about LumaFusion itself, then I am going to throw up a link here at the end where you can see all of the videos that I have done on that, a full extensive training on it. It is a pretty awesome piece of software. Now, one more thing, one more final note. We're talking about editing entirely on the iPad here, which is awesome because you can do your editing in here, you can deliver from here, everything's done. But there are those times when you want to start on the iPad and finish on the desktop. That is a feature that is still coming. It is not here yet. It is the Final Cut XML export that is in development. It is going to be in LumaFusion soon. I have a beta build with it. I've got it, but not everybody else does, but that's okay. It's coming soon. As soon as that's available, you'll get your hands on it. With that, let's move on to the Q&A for those of you watching live. And if you're not watching live, click the link at the end if you do want to watch the Q&A. See you in a minute. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the Photo Moment Q&A portion of the show. So if you have any questions about what we just saw, throw it in the chat room. If you don't have questions about what we just saw but want to ask something else, you can bring that up too. It's all good. So who's here today? Whiskey Throttle, greetings. Jake, good morning to you. Big Red in the UK. Ultra Delusions from LA, awesome. And Cogmission 1, a new lurker. Hey, welcome. I love new lurkers. So what do you guys think? It's a great workflow. It really is, but you got to be careful with it. And this whole thing came up because, as you might imagine, when I was in India, I ran into this problem. I hadn't enabled the store everything locally. And sure enough, one day I'm sitting in a hotel, finally got some time to edit, sit down to edit, and my media wasn't there. So I had to do the stuff that I'm talking about here. I had to do that while on the road. I actually had to clear off content out of my iPad so that I could turn on, store everything locally, so it could re-download everything. It was a real nightmare. So that's something you don't want to run into while you're on the road. Big Red J, once you have copied it to files and in LumaFusion, can you delete it from photos or keep it, or is it the same file and gets deleted? Okay, so if you delete it, you know, that's actually, okay, I'm going to answer it and then we're going to test it. My answer is if you delete it in photos, it's fine because it has been copied to files. This is my understanding of the operating system, and I'm not a engineer, so I don't totally understand this stuff, but my understanding of the operating system is this is a hard link. A hard link means that the file appears to exist in both places, but there's only one copy of it. You can delete it from either one, and you will not get a duplicate. You will not accidentally delete both of them. The advantage of that as well, of a hard link, is it's unlike an alias, which is a soft link, which is apparently very easy to break. Don't really know why. A hard link, as far as the software is concerned, it is actually two separate copies. If you look everywhere you look in the Finder, if you're on Mac OS or in here, you will see two copies of it, but there is only one of them being stored by the operating system. That's my understanding of it. Now that I've said that, let's test it. Let's just do it right now. So there's those three files. Let me go into, I gotta make sure I can actually delete these. I may have to, I'm going to import something else because these I may not want to delete. So let's go into Photos, and let's see here. Let's get something small that there's no way I would use. So 2 seconds long. This has got to be a misfire. Yeah, that's a misfire. Okay, good. So let's take that one, and we're going to move that over to Files. We're going to go ahead and put it in somewhere. Excellent. Double check that it's there. Into Files, there it is. We'll even look at it inside of LumaFusion. And I think I'll have to refresh this, go back and back in again. Yep, there it is. Okay, so now let's go into Photos. This is a tremendously good question. Select that one file, delete, not just remove from album. Yes, I do really want to delete this video. And now go back into Files. And we'll just make sure this is not refreshed. That is refreshed. Yep, still there. Still there. Oh, that's funny. It actually launched it into LumaFusion. Huh. And play. Yep. So we're good to go. So yes, superb question. Thank you. I will add that question into the overlay, into an overlay on the uploaded video, because that is a very, very good question. There you go. Okay, excellent. I'm glad you asked that, Big Red J. Anything else? Anybody else got any questions? See, that's the kind of questions that I like. I love it. Give me something tough that I think I know the answer to, but then I prove that I was right. Anything else? No? Nothing else? Hey, so guys, I'm leaving. I'm leaving you. I'm going to Guatemala. I leave Saturday morning. So not ready for this trip. I hope my client's not watching. I will be working with a school there, but doing an education project, which is going to be super fun. I will shoot in Guatemala. I've never been there before, so I will, of course, shoot. I'm not going to have a whole lot of sightseeing time. I get a little bit on Sunday, but that's it. I'm sure maybe afternoon, evenings, I'll see a few things. But I will shoot. I will vlog. I will do a video about that. You know, just like all the India videos and the one from Sean Bagshaw, the trip that I totally haven't done yet. But I will, okay, so I'm taking some stuff that I have to edit with me. I'm going to release something next week. It might just be some unboxing videos that I'm going to shoot tomorrow. It might be some India stuff if I can actually get my button gear and do that. But I will release something next week, so it won't be a totally silent week, but there will not be any live shows, I'm sorry to say. Topher, greetings, my friend. How do you plan for the quantity and capacity of SD cards to bring on a trip? Bring all of them. Do you ever delete content from the SD cards while traveling? Not if I can help it. So SD cards, I used to be able to say SD cards were cheap, but as you're shooting these higher end content on higher end cards, they're not so cheap anymore. They're pretty spendy. So I would say if budget is a concern, then, and you're, you know, which would basically mean if you're buying really expensive cards and you can't go buy a bunch of them. If you're buying cheap cards, you can buy a bunch of them because, let's face it, then it is still really cheap. Just buy extra cards. But if you're shopping the high-end cards like this Pro grade one, these are the Pro ones. These are, I forget how much this is, but these are not cheap. I'll put a link to those down below as well. Then what I would do is I would have some kind of extra backup before deleting them from here. So I've already copied them into the iPad at this point. So that's good. So now they're in the iPad and they're on the card. If you manage to get to a fast cloud service, a fast internet, then you can let Apple Photos, and this would be a reason to leave them in Apple Photos, let Apple Photos do its backup. Although I suppose if you're doing your full iPad cloud backup, then stuff you've copied into files would get backed up as well, wouldn't it? Yeah, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. So as long as your iPad is getting backed up to iCloud as it normally would, then you've got a cloud backup. At that point, I would feel reasonably comfortable deleting the card. I'd still rather not, but I would feel really reasonably comfortable doing it. If that is still not enough, where you know you're not going to have internet access, then you are going to want some type of other device, and there are to do a backup too. So you could use something like the Narbox, and you'll notice I didn't talk about Narbox today. I ended up not using it in India because I wanted to simplify the workflow, but our Narbox 2 is about to be shipping very, very soon, and that is going to be a much better workflow even than Narbox 1 was, so we'll be talking about that again, so that is an option. WD, Western Digital, is making a drive that will allow you to do a similar type of a workflow, which is also supported inside of LumaFusion. Or there are quite inexpensive devices, I think SanDisk makes one, that you plug into your iPad and copy media over to that. So that would be a backup workflow that I would do. But yeah, I would only delete them off of the card as an absolute last resort. I would much rather just have enough content with me. Mr. Sean Mark Nipper, how curious. Mr. Sean Mark Nipper, who is here in the room, is asking a question on the live chat. I bring along my 2 tera DJI Copilot. Hey, hey Sean, you got it here? Bring that thing over here. Slap a mic on you. Look, this is what happens when Sean's in the house. He gets dragged into the show. Excellent. Here you go. You know how this works. Let me unmute your mic on here.
Hello, everybody.
Whoa. Oh, I'll wait for you to turn that on before I blast everybody's ears out. Once you let me know when you're. Let's go get some. He'll let me know when he's ready to come on. He'll talk about this because I have never used this thing, but he's got one. Jake Updale, Panasonic released 2 new features that will be in the S1 and S1R. Do you have any info on these? Okay, I have lots of info. I don't know what was actually announced, so I'm going to, for now, I will have to look and see what they. If you tell me what they were, Jake, I can elaborate, possibly, or you might be telling me everything that I know. But let me know what they said because I haven't watched any of the CES stuff. Figured out? Are you on?
I've seen this on TV before.
Okay, let me unmute you. There we go. Say something.
Unmuted?
Excellent. You're on.
Hey, all right.
Hey.
You can hear me right in your.
I can hear you right in my
Good
ears.
to see you.
And you can hear me through these things.
That was a long trek from.
I know. So in case you guys are wondering, he's moved in. We're a happy couple now.
Yay.
He has moved in. He's taking the desk over here that was Ryan's desk. He's no longer here, so he's here. He's not here to replace Ryan. He is here taking space to do what he does.
Indeed.
Indeed.
It's a great desk, by the way. I love it.
It's
all smooth.
It's a smooth desk. Smooth desks are good. So what is this thing?
So this is the DJI Copilot. It's a 2 terabytes hard drive that you can bring along. It actually has a little.
It's the top down on there.
Little top down. You can see there. Yeah,
Says a
so
little light on there.
little button right here you press and it tells you how much battery power and how much space you have. It comes with a bunch of different connectors. I have the iPhone, or should I say lightning connector.
Right, okay.
So I can just plug my phone in. It automatically starts pulling in footage, and you use the app to tell it what pictures you want to see. You can actually see what's on the hard drive on your phone, but you don't need a computer to transfer footage. So
Right.
it's
So like
also
the
cool.
Narbox in that regard.
Exactly. So you've got USB connector, power cable, and then you can actually slide in
Here's your SD card reader.
SD
Okay.
card. Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So and this little guy just
That's the cable. Okay, I see.
you got little
Right.
different ones you can. I'm just
So
gonna
if we
leave
plug
there.
this into my iPad now, I would probably be able to access the content on here inside of LumaFusion
Yes.
without installing anything.
Indeed.
Neat. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very
so
cool.
super cool, and the power lasts a long time. As a matter of fact, I haven't charged this thing in, gosh, I think a month.
Is that the
or so.
oh, I see.
And
Oh.
it's got 99% power left.
Oh, wow.
So
That's impressive.
it's not doing anything when you're not doing anything. So
Well, like
yeah.
that. Good.
This does work with LumaFusion. I think
It
it'll
does.
be interesting. So
Yeah. Well, here let's just plug it in and see what
Okay.
happens. So for that, we'll have to let's rearrange things a little bit here, and let's go to the top-down view. So we'll just plug this in because yeah, we already know that if I tap on the file browser, it shows me the WD right there. So let's just plug it in and see what happens. Does this power on? Does this light up or anything when
press
it's?
the button there.
Okay, let's just tap it and see.
Yeah, it says DJI. It's now.
Make sure your drive is
something.
on and you're connected to its Wi-Fi network. Oh, so you have to connect to its Wi-Fi. Is it not access it tethered?
It should. No, it should. I believe I need my phone to see what it's seeing.
Okay.
Let's see.
So the Narbox works over Wi-Fi, right? It does not work with a tethered wired
Right,
connection.
right.
Oh, and it says app not installed. Lacey DJI Codapilot is. Let's just get it. See
Why
what
not?
happens. We'll see what happens.
Download it. That's what Get.
Get. So yeah, the Narbox has to be wireless. They
see.
don't have a wired connection feature, which would be great. I know a lot of people have asked for it because sometimes Wi-Fi is unreliable, or
Right,
maybe
right.
you're somewhere you're not supposed to have Wi-Fi on, or whatever. But let's just see what happens here. So fire this thing up. Send you notifications. Sure.
Why
I'm
not?
going to delete you shortly. Copilot boss. Good grief. I accept everything. Connect your devices. Yes, I don't. Yes, thank you. Where's the skip button? Copy
Jesus
location.
Christ.
Every
It's
time
almost
a
like setting up
copy,
an iPhone for the first
seriously,
time.
every time a copy is initiated, we log the general region of your device. We do not need to. No, you don't need to know anything. Okay. New update available. Yeah, later. Tap
Oh, update for this. Good to know.
Yeah, good update
Okay.
for that. Okay, so there's the content. Now let's go back into LumaFusion and see if it. Go back to WD. No, still not. So I wonder if there's a way in here. There's probably somebody in the chat room telling me here. You see if you can figure that out. I'm going to look in the chat room and see if someone's telling us how to do this already. Robin, question off topic, and Jake Updill's talking about the S1 and S1R, the high resolution mode and HLG photo mode. Yeah, high res mode just like in G9, and with the size of the sensor in the bigger one, the high resolution one, it's an insanely ridiculous file size. And then the HLG photo mode, yeah, that's great. So you're familiar with HLG video, hybrid log gamma video, giving you high HDR type content in your video file. Of course, can only be played back and seen on an HDR TV. Same thing with the photo. It's meant to be played back on an HDR TV, but yeah, you get that HDR look, HDR, that higher dynamic range in a photo instead of just in video. So that's pretty awesome. And before you ask, I have no idea if that stuff's going to be trickled down to other systems or not. I don't know if that's a software or hardware based thing. Any joy there?
No, but I lost a bar of power.
How could you?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't like your iPad.
Okay. Well, when you have it set up right, it works. I mean, that's what it's
Indeed.
designed to do. Cognition, no flip screen though. No, so the S series cameras do not have a flip. They have an a 3-axis LCD, but not the fully articulating flip around backwards LCD. Definitely two schools of thought on that. Apparently, the 3-axis is a stronger, more robust, much harder to break LCD. Personally, I'm happy to admit that I personally would much rather have the fully articulating flip around. It's not about doing selfie video. I don't imagine too many people outside of like a Peter McKinnon doing this with a full frame camera. That's huge. He's crazy. He's also like 8 feet tall with big arms, so that helps. But I use it all the time in the studio when I'm setting up a shot. So instead of, yes, I can connect to the Wi-Fi, have the phone, move around and so on, but it's super convenient to have the camera on a tripod and be over here setting up a shot and be able to look over, and I just did this yesterday, look over and rearrange things to see them in the scene. It's super convenient.
Well, sometimes I'll be interviewing somebody and I'll have the the screen sideways and the camera's pointing this way because I don't want them to be paying attention to me, or depending on where you're at.
So sideways it will do, let me think, it flips, obviously I can't do it with this, it flips up and down, and it flips out, but it doesn't go full 90. It flips out, I don't know what the angle is, but it flips out like this. So you can still do that, just not full 90 out. It would flip out to here.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Put it above you and still see it. You can put it down, still see down. I wonder why they did that. Why would they?
Strength, durability. That's the rationale.
Yeah.
Robin, welcome back to your question. Topher, do you take any additional security measures while traveling in case your device is lost or stolen with all the awesome new content on it? I do not. Same security measures anywhere else. Don't look like a stinking tourist. Don't look like a victim. It's about the best you can do.
You use your strap though, don't you? The one that says
no. Right. I use the strap that says "big expensive camera." I wear that everywhere. No.
The first thing I throw away when I
I know. I hate a strap that has the camera brand on it. No, I don't tape off the manufacturer or anything like that. Although I guess in this regard, that would be to my advantage. It's saying Lumix and not Canon or Nikon because people still think that those are the actual valuable cameras. But no, and I'm usually not without a strap at all. I'm usually on a belt clip. So no, I don't take any additional security precautions, anything other than
set your bag down and turn around and shoot that thing.
Well, I wouldn't do that at home either.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't do that here in Ashland as safe as it is. Was it the last time you ever did it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Right there in San Francisco by the Ferry Building. We were shooting a little video that I took offline. I can't show you that, but it was it was this thing for Funny or Die. But yeah, we turned around just for 30 seconds. We're just filming this one thing. I think I was doing cartwheels. And we turned around, purse was gone. And within 15 minutes, somebody had already purchased coffee at Starbucks. So, yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
I won't do it again.
Don't do that. Okay, let me scroll back up because there was another question in here. I'm eliminating you from the scene for the moment. I don't need you anymore. Thanks for coming in, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was always good. He's gonna do this more often, I think. He's probably gonna start keeping the mic on his desk so he can just come in on his own.
I'm gonna walk back and forth when he's not looking. I
So,
got
anyway,
that shark costume.
Don't you have work to do? All right. See, the people who don't watch the Q&A are missing out on everything. And then he turns off his mic and blasts my ears out. That's okay. All right. Where were we? Robin said, can you let us know what picture profile you use for live streaming? Oh, I'm trying HLG and find that I need to boost the ISO, but I have no idea if that's a good approach. Okay. I would not use HLG for live streaming because unless you know that your audience is on, actually, probably, I'm sure that you're losing all of the advantages of HLG through the encoding process. So I would not use HLG for live streaming. I would use, I guess it depends on what your goal is. If you're streaming and then you're going to color grade later, then I would shoot in a more neutral profile. I'd just use the natural one, natural, neutral, or neutral, natural. Anyway, I'd use that one. If you want it to just look really good for the stream and you're not going to do anything in post later, I'm a big fan of Vivid, just because I think it looks so rich and delicious, but it could be a bit much for, like a show like this, it wouldn't really be appropriate. It'd be a little bit too much. I would probably just use the natural one. Stuff like this, I try to keep it as neutral as possible, right? These cameras are all calibrated to standard broadcast regulations. The gray, black, and white points are precisely where they should be for standard broadcast. I'm not trying to do anything fancy in color in here. Get out of the studio, of course, it's a totally different story. As far as what I use, these are mostly not Lumix cameras, right? This camera that you're on right here is a Blackmagic. The rolling studio camera is a Blackmagic camera. The close-up and the overhead are GH4s, and those are in the natural profile, and those are also calibrated to match all of these. And I've done shows about that. I will drop that in the playlist at the end as well. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. Let's see here. Okay, Robin, another off-topic question. Confirmed. Here we go. The G9 does autofocus while not recording internally, like the GH5 used for HDMI output. Question is, does audio also get transmitted over HDMI? Yes. Yeah, audio is transmitted over HDMI on these cameras, for sure. Let's see here. Did I miss anything? I feel like I missed something. Nope, I guess not. All right. I guess that's that. Cool, guys. Thanks. That was a fun show. That was a really good Q&A. That was awesome. Love that. It's great having Sean here. Well, he's here most days now, so he's going to be in the show a little bit more. You're welcome, Robin. Okay, guys, take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you from Guatemala. If you are not following me on Instagram, I'm going to try really, really hard. I've been so bad at this, and I kind of started getting good at it the last half of my India trip, but I'm going to start doing more Instagram stories. It's a tough thing, right? Because I'm shooting video on here, plus I'm shooting stills, so there's already two things I'm thinking about. Occasionally, I want to like post something on Instagram, so I'll grab the iPhone and do something quick, and I forget to do video stories on Instagram. Although there are so many opportunities to do it, and once I kind of got my head around it on the India trip, I did start doing it at the end, and it was a lot of fun to do. I just have to not forget. So it's like 3 or 4 different things to shoot all the time. It's a bit much, but it's fun. So follow along on Instagram, PhotoJoseph, of course. Make sure you're watching the stories, because I will definitely try and do some stuff while I'm in Guatemala. Okay, that's it. Now I'm really out of here. Take care of yourselves, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye. One of these buttons, I swear, one of these days.